Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm not very well. I do apologise. So, Victory of the Daleks. Again, my first impression of Victory of the Daleks was, ugh. And that's probably a bit unfair, to be perfectly honest, with hindsight. I think I was still getting used to this new era of Who, and it was a big change. But there's no doubt that Victory of the Daleks it's not amazing, let's put it like that. And I was reflecting whilst watching it, because we've seen this quite recently, actually. So I was reflecting whilst we were watching it. What is it about this that doesn't quite work? Because on paper, there's so much about this that should and actually does work. I love the Doctor meeting Winston Churchill. And I think it's a brilliant performance of the character Winston Churchill. I doubt I doubt Churchill came across as avuncular as this. I just don't feel that. That doesn't ring true. I don't know anything about Churchill, really, to be honest. But I love Bracewell as well. And in fact, as I was watching it, I was loving all of that bit, all of the opening bits, all of that tension, the Doctor, knowing the true nature of these creatures, the slight edge about Amy not knowing about the Daleks. I should touch upon that in a minute. And I loved all of that. The cabinet war rooms, the war setting, and the whole power of the Daleks. Oh, the Daleks are goodies now, are they? Oh, no, they're not. All of that. I even didn't mind the much derided line, I am the Doctor and you are the Daleks, which was a ridiculous thing to put in the previous cliffhanger because out of context it sounds stupid. And I think it made Matt Smith look stupid. Honestly, just because you need the run up to that where he is so furious and cross, and it's a very sort of undoctory sort of way to be whacking it with that great big, ridiculously big spanner. That's the biggest spanner I've ever seen. Yes.
What's a big spanner, actually? I bet it was quite heavy.
I bet he had a false spanner during the punch hitting things. Anyway, I loved all of that. The part where this episode starts to fall apart is this. It's twofold. One, the dialogue doesn't quite snap the way I want it to. There's not enough of Matt Smith getting to do what he's clearly brilliant at in 2 episodes, of just that sort of snappy, sort of mercurial, that's a word we've not used in a while, turns of phrase and twists, all that kind of thing that Matt Smith is going to be, a hallmark of his Doctor. But the other part where he falls down is everything on the Dalek ship. Because I'm not a TV maker person, as if you hadn't guessed. But all of that just goes flat as a pancake. I think the direction of it is really weird. I think the height of the ceiling, this sounds stupid, just makes it feel nothing. I get why it's like that. The Daleks appear, it makes sense. It's like, in the Daleks, way back in the day, that sort of cramped environment had a purpose. It doesn't work here. It's too wide, if that's the point of it. And then, and you know where I'm going with this, the new Daleks look awful. They
look like land jokers.
Oh, they just look awful. And it's laughable. And honestly, when the director was doing this bit, they must have thought, this is just good. When the new Daleks destroy the old Daleks, and the old Daleks are amazing. So the bronze Dalek is the one we're used to, and that, I think, is just absolutely brilliant. But even the Ironside Daleks, with the camouflage and the Union Jack bit, and the sort of the canvassy sort of utility belt thing, to make them more World War II-y, they just look absolutely brilliant. And while I'm watching it, I'm thinking, right, so I've been criticised before in the comments, legitimately so, because I do take a bit of an axe to the notion that Terry Nation was this genius writer, which I genuinely don't think he was, but I do think Ray Cusack was a genius designer. And it seems to me this episode just supports my argument there, because you can write Dalek pepper pot shape, go along the floor like flipping Russian dancers, not be able to see the feet moving, yada, yada, yada. You could write that in a script, and you could write the words exterminate, bit Nazi-ish, yada, yada, yada. But if Ray Cusick doesn't get his dimensions right, whatever it is about that design that works, the Daleks don't work. And that's demonstrated aptly here, because the Daleks look ridiculous, quite frankly. I mean, I don't want to, somebody's put a lot of time and effort into this. They look awful. And, I just think that... if you get a genius of design, you don't mess about with it too much. So there we go. Maybe in a different circumstance, even Matt Smith's lines of that just didn't pop for me. Although the whole Jammy Dodger bit, my kids take that to heart now. In fact, Humphrey insisted we had Jammy Dodgers while we watched it. So there we go. But I just think, what's that all about? Don't mess with perfection. And it is perfection. That Dalek design is a slice of genius. Why update? I don't know. There we go. Whatever. And then, of course, you go down, we get the saving of Bracewell. And again, the episode comes into its own again because the Doctor does his best. But then that moment with a little cheeky gleam in her eye when Amy bends down and said, ever fancied somebody you shouldn't have? And it's just brilliant because, Bracewell plays along. Fantastic. The Doctor, and she looks at the Doctor, but it's not a flipping... Martha, look at the Doctor. Yeah, it's not a Martha, look at the Doctor. It's a.
She does.
No, what, Amy?
Yeah.
No, there's levels to that. It's like because she's been averted. She's like kind of talking about you here. That's the sort of confidence that Amy has that doesn't come across with Martha. It's like, yeah, boy, I'm talking about you, but I'm talking to him, and I'm also saving the Earth. I'm a legend. And then you get, and this is where I just think this episode does shine. The way that Matt Smith kisses her on the forehead is just beautiful doctorness. None of that awkward, sexy. No, it's just like, what? Grab me smack her on the forehead, job done, whatever you were saying. That's where our relationship is. And then he looks absolutely bereft that the Daleks have gone. And Amy says, you saved the world. And Hitler, excuse me, I got the wrong side. Churchill says, you've saved the world. And he sort of just goes, well, yeah, I suppose it's not too bad a day. And that's the magic. And that's the difference, I think, now, 3 episodes in with Matt Smith than RT Deer, is that RT Deer had the snap and the pizzazz and the sort of cool, whereas Matt Smith's era, personified by Matt Smith, is embracing the sort of, awkward angles and sort of, well, yeah, I am pretty cool, actually. And, of course, we'll get all the bow ties are cool and fezzes are cool and all that. And they are. But they're not. That's the glory of this. What he sort of goes, well, yes, I did rather well, didn't I? It's lovely. So there we go. My kids loved this episode tonight. They had a great time watching it. But I just feel... It's not shite. That's unfair. Oh, there's lots of good stuff. Churchill's amazing in this. Oh, you're just being cynical. But anyway, I think... it falls flat. And I hate saying that because Gattis, I think, gets a bit of a rough ride in this house.
Not a Gattis fan.
Well, it's Gattis squared, isn't it? Because he does the voice of the pilot at the end as well. And it's just a bit like, oh, it's the Gattis show. And be fair to Gattis, he didn't, he got suckered into doing that voice at the end. And it's quite sweet, really. But, yeah, it's the 3rd episode of the Matt Smith era. We needed a punch here, and we didn't get one. And you can see, therefore, why back then, by this point, I was still a little bit... oh, not sure about this. It's now, again, breaking the rules that I set so long ago, that I know where all this comes. Setting my own budgetary rules. I know, so this is fine. This is fine because this is a standard Doctor Who episode. But by in this era, this perhaps should have punched a bit more. It's all going to work out. Don't worry about it. Bye-bye.